So we're here at the end of a week of what was labelled the Wisdom Roadshow, which is a first in many ways of education in the investor relations space within Greater China. We've done Beijing on Monday, Shanghai on Tuesday, Taipei on Thursday, so you got a break on Wednesday, and then obviously Hong Kong on Friday. And we're here in the Hong Kong Exchange. We've had over 350 people join the Wisdom Roadshow. A huge amount discussed, some of it very topical, some of it a little bit more long term. We've had some very frank conversations and questions, both from our panelists and also from the audience. And it would just be very, very good to get your viewpoints on this week. But just before that, to introduce you, so Eva is with the Hong Kong Investor Relations Association, is also a practicing investor relations officer, and is very, very well known in the Hong Kong market. And Eva, you can talk a little bit about yourself after that. And Jeff's with NIRI, the National Investor Relations Institute, and is over from the US, and Jeff can talk a little bit about NIRI as well. Eva, why don't you introduce the Hong Kong Investor Relations Association, what you've been doing, how it started, why it started.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Hong Kong Investor Relations Association actually was founded in 2008, at the end of 2008. It's about 3 years ago, and now we have we are over 100 members, and most of them, they are working in the Hong Kong listed company as the IR officer. And the objective or the mission of HKRA is to promote the IR profession in Hong Kong. And because we see that Hong Kong as one of the most important financial market in the world, we see that the importance of IR actually is getting higher and higher. So that's why we would like to promote this profession and also to raise the standard to an international level. So actually, I'm very glad to have NIRI, Jeff, in Hong Kong to promote this profession and then to give his sharing to our Hong Kong professionals.
Well, thanks, and it's great to be here. And the National Investor Relations Institute is a 40-plus-year-old organization that focuses on investor relations. And as such, we have about 3,500 companies, and our focus is on education and information and advocacy and community. And this is the first time we've been to Asia, and we appreciate Ipreo helping to bring us and underwriting the cost to bring us to Asia, as we are a nonprofit organization, so our focus is our membership, and this is a new area to really look at from a growth in investor relations. So it's been great to be here, and we've had a lot of great visits.
Thank you. And so, Jeff, you've done these four cities in 5 days. What are your sort of feelings on how they've gone, but more what the differences may have been, and what the general sort of feeling is and concerns of the investor relations professionals that you've spoken with?
Yeah, what I think is that as I go around the world and talk to investor relations professionals, I came to Asia without really knowing what I was going to see and what I was going to hear. But what I heard was many of the same challenges that we all have as companies across the world. And what that tells me is that investor relations is becoming a global practice. And I think our financial markets are driving us to practice investor relations in the same manner. And the challenges, as you asked, we all want to know who our shareholders are, who we should be looking at for potential new shareholders. We all have challenges in our workload and communicating, and challenges in making sure our CEO and CFO have involvement. And I think that part of our goal is to raise the profession internally so that people see the value of investor relations. And that's one of the challenges here in China as well as across the globe.
Can you, what about your experience with the Hong Kong IRA? It started in 2008. So you've been going a very short period of time in comparison to other associations. But something that I've been told, and I believe myself, is that the investor relations profession in Hong Kong is developing probably faster than it's developed in any other region or any other financial center. And obviously the Hong Kong IRA has had a lot to do with that. But do you believe that's true, and where do you think it's going?
Yes, actually, I think the last few years is very important because Hong Kong become the largest IPO financial market in the last few years. So we can see that actually a lot of international institutional investors, they come into Hong Kong to invest in the Hong Kong listed company. So that's why the investor demand is getting stronger and stronger, and that's why the profession of IR in Hong Kong is also actually is growing. So I think this. From this, I can say that I can see the importance of IR in Hong Kong is getting actually more important. So so that's why as an association in Hong Kong, we are also a non-profitable organization. I would like to promote the IR standard and also to have a platform for the IR people in Hong Kong to share the experience, and also because I agree with Jeff this morning. He said IR is a lonely profession. so that's why it's also very important to have a platform for our people to get together to share our experience, and also to help each other in this industry. Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I saw in Beijing and some of the other places that we've been, is that a lot of these IROs had never really been together, and by doing this Wisdom Roadshow, suddenly, there's a community out there of other IR professionals that it's great to know and understand and be able to have contact with them, because I think we all learn from each other. So, this has been a real benefit to the community here.
So how do we keep it going then with these driving investor relations, bringing it, getting them a seat more and more at the table, helping them with budgets and teams and the likes, making sure it's not a lonely job. What are the associations doing, and what are organisations like Ipreo need to try and do to keep that momentum going?
Well, I would think one of the things we all want is to benchmark ourselves against each other. And Ipreo does a lot of great research that they make publicly available. I realize you also sell a lot, but you really give away a lot to help people see the market. And I think that type of information is very helpful for IR professionals to be able to see. And I think that the more we raise up the profession and the more we help the C-suite understand the value in what we do, which is a very important job in the company. It ultimately helps our companies be fairly valued. And so, I think all of this, just this trip, has helped raise the profile some. So everything we do helps to raise it.
And also, I think we also need to get the attention of the board members, the chairman, the CEO, to let them understand more what is investor relation, and then they can see the value and importance of an IR officer in the company. I think this is another, the other objective or mission for HKRA to do in order to raise the importance or the profile, the status of IR in Hong Kong.
So moving a little bit to to today, there were some many interesting presentations, but also a number of interesting comments, and actually a couple of people tended to disagree with some of the statements made by panelists, and I think there was even a point where two panelists disagreed with each other, which I think is a very, very healthy environment, because it means that people are genuinely experiencing things, feel quite strongly about certain things, and have different viewpoints, which means that there's no sort of right way of doing anything. But what would be, if there's one thing that you think we can keep going from today in Hong Kong, what do you think the one thing is that is worth sort of taking away from what was discussed today?
Do you have thoughts? Because
I think in Hong Kong, that because IR is quite a new profession. I think we just have this profession about 4 or 5 years ago, and so it's new. I think even in the company structure, it's a new department. So even though I think a lot of your colleagues, they don't know what you're doing. They always mix up IR and PR. And they think they just making some noise in the market. They don't know actually this is a very professional work, and so I think and when you talk about the different panelists, they have different viewpoint on some particular topic. I think this is healthy, as you said, because Hong Kong is a free market. Okay, you are allowed to voice out your own opinion, and also because there are also different thoughts on IR on the IR. I think this topic, because it's quite a new profession, so that's why I think in the future, if we can do more training or seminar or sharing, so to do more marketing about to promote this profession in Hong Kong, so that I think the people don't know, when they understand more, maybe this kind of divergency will be narrowed down.
I would also add that we talked about community of IR professionals, but there's also a broader community, and part of that community is the investors. Yeah. And today we had several investors on panels, and we often, the only time we talk to investors is when we're representing our company. So to have forums like this where we can talk about issues as a profession and bring those investors in and have them represent their views without targeting my company is very healthy, is a great way to create dialogue, and ultimately improves that relationship that we have between the company and the investor.
Very much so. The point that was made towards the end of today, which was around, it's kind of that bridging of the gap between the routine side of investor relations, which is about the share price and the return, basically, and then the panel, Eva, that you sat on between two sort of really sort of governance guys, or environmental, social, and governance. One from BlackRock, and then Jamie from the Corporate Governance Association, within Asia. Do you think that is something that is happening in Hong Kong? That there is an increasing need and requirement from investors, for the investor relations profession to start taking that on as a skill set and something that they understand?
I think yes. Actually, the trend is the focus. I mean, the importance of corporate governance actually is increasing, especially because what I find in the last few years. Now, when we see the investor, they're not only asking questions about the operation or the company, future development, they also ask questions about corporate governance. Okay, so how do you go when, just like our company, we are doing property development. So if your company, they want to make a decision on buying new land, a new land bank, you you need to go through a committee, or just a director is a director can make the decision. So I think this is part of the corporate governance they are looking at, to make sure you have a proper decision-making process. So this is also, I think this is the message we have to bring back to the company, that the investor, they're not only concerning about the day-to-day routine business, they're also concerned about what are the governance issue. And I also asked a question about the personal life of the executive of the board members. This is also another thing that the investor, they're also asking, because they're not only focusing on the company's performance, they also look at the directors' personal performance. So I think this is some of the governance issues we have to look at. Yeah.
It's going to make the investor relations role even harder, but
Yes,
certainly
it
make
is.
it even more high profile.
Yes,
that
but
develops.
it makes our life more difficult, actually. Yeah, but this is part of the process.
Well, you wouldn't want an easy life. So looking for, towards the future, the Hong Kong IRA does events almost every month, other than during the summer, because obviously people are enjoying the summer, and those are hugely valuable, and they are executed very, very well. This is NIRI's first trip into Asia. And we're hopefully, and we've certainly had a number of people requesting that it's not the last. And as Ipreo, we're very supportive of any association that helps with the education and the development of the Investor Relations Association, both because we believe that's right, but also it obviously helps our business as well to have people who can sort of understand and utilize what it is that we deliver. So what are, just as sort of closing out, what are the one or two things that you could leave us with and thoughts on sort of for the rest of this year, and perhaps sort of going into the next?
Well, I would, I guess, start with that. One of the things that I've heard a lot here in China is standards. What should we be doing, and how should we operate, and how do we deal with situations? And that's something that's core to NIRI in what we do. We have our own research staff, and we go out and ask questions of our membership on guidance on various issues and create standards by which you should communicate. And that helps to say this is what the bar is for how we operate as a profession. So part of this roadshow was we picked up a lot of new members, and so that part from our standpoint is to help pass along that information that we have, and the ability to access all that information at NIRI from a research standpoint to help spread the knowledge from what we have to folks here.
Yes, I think because in Hong Kong this is quite a young profession, and our association is also quite young, so we have very limited resources. I think we're also moving to the direction of setting up our best practice, and also we have going to build up a database. That's like a library for our members to share some information. So I think this is the target for the Hong Kong Investor Relations Association to do in the coming years. So we'll. Okay, actually, I'm glad Jeff is here. So we in the future maybe we have more communication, and then we can share a lot of experience from US. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, Eva, thank you very much. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the support during this last week.
Pleasure.
And Jeff, naturally, thank you very much for all the work that you've done and NIRI's done in helping to deliver this Wisdom Roadshow. Thank you very much.